Episode 2, let's go! I did not quit after the first episode. You heard it here first. I'm making a detective game about a raven named Becky Blackfeather. In this game, somebody comes to her paranormal detective agency and tells Becky that her sister has gone missing and mysteriously nobody remembers her. Becky is then going to travel to the middle of nowhere and investigate why no one in this town can seem to remember this small child. Last episode was the very first episode I got started with Unreal, which I am still very, very new to. I'm gonna take those off. It's very large. I've played quite a few detective games somewhat recently. They're probably one of my favorite genres. The best detective games that I'm sort of taking inspiration from are: 1, my personal favorite game of the last decade and potentially of my entire life, Outer Wilds. 2, one of the best detective games I've played this year, Return of the Obra Dinn, and yes, I know I'm a little late on that one. And 3, the one that I've played most recently, and again, one that I was sorely late on, The Forgotten City. One thing I think all of these detective games do very well, and something that GMTK called out in their detective game video, is the ability for players to make choices and not be gifted the ideas from the game itself.
And yet, so many of these games just bungle the execution by holding the player's hand and practically giving away the answer.
All of these detective games don't tell you what to do. They give you a compelling reason to want to look around. In The Return of the Obra Dinn, they literally give you nothing except the ability to travel back to snapshots in time and figure out who everybody is.
You bastards may take exactly what I give you!
In Outer Wilds, they literally just say go explore the solar system. There's no discrete goal except maybe figuring out the mystery of the statue that looks at you at the beginning of the game. But that is enough. So with that in mind, I want to set up a system where the player is essentially unhindered, that they can go explore in any order that they want, and the game never tells them what to look for. It just gives them a system to look for things. To that end, I think that the core gameplay is going to be speaking with villagers around the town. But instead of being able to ask them questions like in a normal detective game, you're actually not going to be able to ask them questions at all. The only 3 options you're going to have are to chat, to show them something that you have, or to share a tidbit of information with them. If you choose chat, then they're just going to tell you something. Basically, they're given dialogue for that point in the story. If you show them an item, then they might have something to say about that item. It might, in fact, give you something else, something further about the story that you didn't know before. Or you could show them an item that has nothing to do with them, in which case they're going to tell you that it has nothing to do with them. I'm hoping, given the fact that there's going to be a decent number of items that you can pick up and investigate, and the fact that at any given point in time, a user may not know if they have all of the items necessary, or even that specific item that that character is looking for, I'm hoping that that gives that feeling of freedom and prevents players from just brute force the solution to the entire game. The third option is a tidbit, is essentially an item, but instead of holding it in your hands, it's just a piece of knowledge that Becky has. I'm going to have Becky essentially write down everything she's told from every character except for blatantly obvious garbage like, hello, my name is, Andy. I've also been working a lot on the story, and hopefully the story itself is compelling enough to have some people just want to explore the world and talk to characters and see what they have to say. I think my next steps are to finish this dialogue system and then basically start placing actors throughout the world and starting to see how the story comes together. And then I have to approach